Hey, everybody. Jay Real here. And I hope that I'm not going to make the title of this program a lie because Kathy hasn't showed up yet. But hopefully she will soon. And I'll add her. And then we can continue with the title of the show is Hanging with Kathy. But right now you're hanging with Jay. It is April the 11th. 2025, and we're dealing with just real pretty warm weather here in Texas, not a cloud in the sky. And the weather people say that we're really in a drought. We need rain. We really do need rain. But at least for the next 10 days or so, there's no forecast for any rain. So no rain is coming anytime soon. And I think maybe we can go with the title of the show. There she is.
Well, let me tell you, and remember, now listen, it's as some of them commercials say, well, it's kind of your fault. It's kind of your fault.
It's kind of my fault.
Yeah, because what happens is you like to use that same email link, and I got to scroll through 22 Steam yards. It ain't funny, dude.
My problem is I forget what your email is. So if I just search it, I forget what it's called. So that's why I go to an old email, which all I got to do is just reply to it. You see?
Yeah. Well,
but what is it? What is your email?
If you'll just start a new stream, it'll be easier for me to find the current stream that we're on.
That's what I'm saying. What is your email? What is the tell me what you
Okay. Supperwithnana@gmail.com. Now, it's SUPPERWITHNANA@gmail.com. Supper with Nana was an old blog that I had, so I just kept the email. Yeah, buddy. And I thought I'm never going to get on, and I'm supposed to be.
What I see, I just see Nana Bradshaw.
Well, I know that, but if you will go into Gmail, like you're going to send an email, you know how to do that?
Well, I think to clear this up, all I would need to do, at least on my end, is just search Nana, and it should pop up.
I don't know. I don't know. I
try to send you a current email.
Yeah, that would be great. Then I had to scroll through 22 saying, nope, that's not it. No. And then I clicked on one and it said, ended in December. I'm like, no, that's not it.
But anyway, before we go on, because you're going to, take us to town here. But let me kind of do a little catch up here. I've lost her. Dadgummit. Hopefully she'll come back. Anyway, the weather. It is really pretty, and we need rain, but we're not going to get any rain. Hang on. And there she is again.
I'm back.
But anyway, let me catch folks up here. And yeah, pretty warm, borderline hot in the afternoons. And there's a few upper 80s, low 90s coming next week, but no rain. And they're fussing about that because they say we really need the rain. We're in drought. And this is usually a rainy time of the year in April and May and June. But we've had very little rain this month, and very little is forecasted. No rain is forecasted, at least for the next 10, 11 days. Now, I'm not mad at that at all because, that's my biggest worry is bad storms and all that. So at least for the next 10 days, I got nothing to worry about, at least as far as that's concerned. And so it's perfect weather to wear my tie-dye shirt, and I've got my duck shorts. I got my bald head, which that is my choice now. If I let my hair grow, I would have that kinky afro shit. It'd be gray, but I'd have it. But it's my choice that I decided to get rid of it all. And usually I'm wearing a cap, but I thought today I'd show y'all my cue ball head, uh, and naked feet. And speaking of naked, I try not to over. What is it I used to do? I used to
Overshare.
overshare. Yeah, I'll try not to do too much of that. But speaking of naked, this time of year, I spend most of the time outdoors during the day. I'm very active. I exercise. I do a lot of walking. I like to be outdoors during the day. But about 6 o'clock is when I come inside the house for the night, for the evening. I put some food out for the cats. I put my phone on charge, and then everything comes off. And that's how I like to live my life during this time of year. Is
Look at it as the day you come into the world.
as I came into the world. And now that is nothing you'd want to see. Now I got nothing to show, but it's for comfort. Yeah, everything comes off. So yeah, I'll go. If I throw something, I'll throw something in the air fryer, or find me something to watch on TV.
That sounds risky. Naked and throwing something in the air fryer.
Well, now I'm careful.
Oh, okay.
And the way I'm sitting in my chair, this is usually the way I sit in my chair. But yeah, everything's
Well, you live alone,
hang it out. But yeah, I'm alone, and there's no one to see. But it's the comfort level. That's the way I sleep. I sleep that way.
A lot of people sleep naked.
Yeah. So yeah, like I say, it's nothing you'd want to see. Now I ain't showing nobody but myself. But yeah, that's how I like to live. But particularly this time of year, that's how I like to live my life. And them countries where everyone walks around naked all the time, man, I would go to town there. Well,
I ain't never heard of that. I know beaches.
Indonesia or Africa or something, like some countries where they have natives.
Oh, okay, I'm with you now.
Walk around bare assed all the time. But yeah, that'd suit me just fine. Anyway, I'll stop oversharing, and let's get to you, sis. What's been going on with you?
Well, I decided to get real industrious, and I got a call from Walmart that it was time for me to get my booster COVID is available. And I'm like, well, I got a COVID shot in September. And so I happened to catch the call coming in to answer it. And the pharmacist said, yes, ma'am, this is booster though, COVID. And I said, I only take the Pfizer vaccines. I won't take Moderna or whatever that is. Moderna anyway. And she said, yes, it's available for Pfizer. Come on in. So I went on in, got it, and then I went and picked up a couple of plants that I've been wanting for my plant stand outside. I got a pretty decent size one. And then I picked up a couple more things and I headed home, right? And then so I had picked up some planters, but not enough. And I said, I need some planters because I need to separate some of my wildflowers that I planted because they just they bloom. They're not blooming yet, y'all, but they come up and they're all clustered. So I got to thin them out. So I thought, well, I'll walk to the senior center. Okay. So it's about not even a city block from where I live. So I went over to the senior center and she did have some planters and she has some really nice terracotta ones, $1 a piece. So I hooked me up pretty good with those. And I sat down to drink my Diet Coke. I drink a Diet Coke 1 every 6 weeks. That's about how often I go to the senior center, right? Now, there was 2 crews of people on one side of the room playing dominoes, It's loud in there. Now, I mean, I don't have any normally sensitivity to loudness, but the older I got, the least amount of people I like to be around. I don't like a lot of people. I like very few people in my orbit, don't you know? But anyway, so I sat down at the table and I had piled up a few things, not much, but a few things that I wanted. And so the director come over and she's adding it up and stuff, And this woman, her name's Aurora. We didn't exchange ages. It don't matter. Everybody in there, y'all, is old. So she come and she said, can I sit at your table? It's just me there. So they're about the size of a card table. So she sat down by me. And she asked me my name, and I told her 4 times in a 20-minute conversation. And I thought, she's really, really friendly. Real friendly. Well, so do you live? I said, yeah, I live in the community. I didn't tell her where. I don't want this person knocking on. I don't. If you're not family or Amazon or Walmart Plus delivery, don't come to my house. Don't, my little apartment. But anyway, y'all, she talked way more than I do. And y'all watching with Jay, y'all know I talk a lot. And I'm just looking at her. Now, if people come up, my daughter and I have these spaces, and we can just glance over at somebody and they'll come and talk to us. We're approachable, very approachable. Sometimes you don't want to be approachable. They're going to come approach you to talk to you. It might be, look, have you used this spice? No, I don't believe I have. And then they're going to ask you 2 or 3 more questions. Well, she asked me about 15 questions. I answered 3. And, well, you have children. I have a grown daughter. Yeah. Are you married? No, divorce. I divorced him. Oh, okay. Like a bunch of questions. I don't like people up in my business. Now, if y'all don't understand what that means, it means I was overly sociable. I had to be in the corporate job I had for over 30 years, that as I've gotten older, I don't care to talk to people I don't know. I really don't. And I mean, like I said, there's my daughter, my son-in-law, the 2 grandkids I worship, and my brother and my cousin Joy in East Texas. That's it. And Jay and Joy are nowhere near me, and my daughter and them are, they're in the next city over from where I live. But it always hits me when somebody's overly friendly to you. What do you want? And the director, I glanced up at her and kind of gave her a side glance, and she said, well, didn't you need to go home and get your insulin in you? I said, I do. So I was getting up to leave anyway, and I had my big utility cart, right, that I push. Anyway, if somebody approaches you, and see, she said, you want to come watch them? You want to come play dominoes? I'm like, no. She said, you want to come play? Do you come up here and play? Oh, y'all, they play all kinds of games up there, bridge and all this mess. I said, no, I don't care for that. I said, honestly, I'm not overly sociable. And if you knew my personality and y'all know me for 150 years, you'll know, well, that's BS. Well, no, it's really not. And it's, so I walked away, and y'all, she walked me to the door. And I thought to myself, lady, you're not going to follow me home. I'll go 2 blocks down and call it Uber to go. But anyway, so that's what's current with me. But anyway.
Well, there's not a whole lot current with me. I'm not working on my short film right now or anything like that. It's still something, because I still need to get a laptop and stuff. I'm socking money back, hopefully out something out that, and also it's just my mindset. I need to, regroup and get my mind, ready to work on something like that. And right now, I've sort of fallen out of that mindset. Still something I want to do, but so it's just basically just getting day by day, just like I say, spending outdoors and just trying to stay active physically, and yeah, but not a whole lot to report. And like I say, the weather's been so pretty and not having any storms coming anytime soon, so I don't have that to worry about. And so, yeah, it's just, getting through the day and
Status quo.
status quo. There you go, status quo.
Yeah. Which I like to be status quo.
But but last night, and naked,
Y'all, I think he's naked when he's home. See that? See behind him? That's a sliding glass door. You see the curtain? So he ain't trying to flaunt nothing.
It's a blackout curtain. Yeah, you can't see nothing. Yeah, so I close it. Yeah. Anyway, I'll stop with the naked.
Well, it's okay. I mean, I think we understand it, but that's okay. Somebody.
Anyway, I put on TV. I watch the news, and then I'm like, well, do I want to watch a movie or do I want to watch some YouTube streams or something short? Watch some Gunsmoke episodes, or do I want to actually sit down and watch a movie? So I thought I'm kind of in a movie mood.
There you go.
So I turned on Tubi. I like the way it starts,
Yeah, me too.
Tubi. And I'm scrolling through, and here's a movie that I have not sat down and watched all the way through for probably a good 30 years, if not longer. And that is the Amityville Horror.
But tell them why you didn't watch it all the way through. I mean,
well, when it came out, I didn't go to the theater and see it, but I think the first time I saw it, it might have been on like a movie of the week. They used to, like CBS, things like that used to have around 12 o'clock, the movie of the week, and they would show, and they were edited. They would cut out the cursing and any nudity they would cut out and stuff.
All the good stuff.
That might have been the first time I saw the Amityville Horror, but the first time I saw the movie proper was, I think, on VHS. We had a couple of video stores in town, the biggest one being WW Family. I rented it and watched it and didn't care for it. But I had forgotten why I didn't care for it.
There you go. That's what I was wanting you to say.
Like I say, it'd been 30 years or probably, maybe more since I had seen the movie. And it's on Tubi. So I thought, well, what the hell? I'll watch the Amityville Horror. So it's Margot Kidder. Was it Josh Brolin, I believe? And it's this big old house. Of course, you people know Amityville. They made like 20 sequels to it. And it's this big old house, and this man, it's based on a true story, this man with a shotgun murdered his family, shot his wife and his kids, and they were all asleep in their beds, and he just shot them dead. And I forget, I guess he went to prison. I don't think he killed himself. I think he went to prison.
No, I think they got him, yeah.
Anyway, then this family moves into the houses. Margot Kidder and her husband, and her husband has just married her. She already has kids. She's got a little girl, and she's got a couple of sons, I think. And so they're moved into this house where this family were murdered, the Amityville house, and they invite a priest to come and sort of bless the house, because it's kind of a ritual. They're moving into it's a big old 3-story house. They come and but the priest goes there and he freaks out because he hears a voice out of nowhere going, "Get out!" And so he books it, and a nun shows up. I think she's visiting with the family or something like that. She freaks out because she sees like evil visions and shit, so she leaves. And Josh Brolin starts to get sick, like he's got the flu. He's cold all the time, even though the fireplace is going. It's warm in the house, but he's always cold. He starts to get sick. And then flies start showing up. This house, rooms start filling up with flies. And Margot Kidder starts having nightmares of visions of the family being murdered, wakes up screaming. One of the little boys, he's got his hand on a windowsill, and this window comes down and smashes his fingers out of nowhere. And all this, and it gets worse and worse and worse. The house is haunted, I guess, by the murdered family.
Yeah.
And also, I think the priest does some research and finds out that there used to be like satanic on the site where the house was built. There used to be like satanic rituals and the witches, evil, incantations and shit back in the old days. And so anyway, I found out why I didn't care for this movie.
Well, there you go. That's the main thing.
Because when you watch a horror movie, most of the time you've got to suspend some disbelief. you got to, well, okay, that I wouldn't do that, or this wouldn't, this that. But in the context of the movie, you forgive it because it's a horror movie, and weird stuff happens, and or
Yeah.
people do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do, but you forgive it. For a horror movie, you forgive such things. But I find it hard to forgive Margot Kidder and Josh Brolin in their kids in this house where voices are coming out of nowhere telling you to get out.
Get out.
That would be the first thing I would do, is get the motherfucker out of that house. But they stay there, and they're like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Walk out the front door.
Motherfucker, you get the fuck out of the house. That's what you do.
Didn't they ever see Poltergeist? They head to the hotel. They didn't take the TV and push it outside.
The house is literally telling you to get out, and you're staying. In the windows, you're smashing your fingers, and there's flies everywhere, and you're horrible nightmares, and Josh Brolin's sick all the time. Get the fuck out of the house.
But they don't.
Of course, I know if they did that, there would be no movie.
Well, yeah.
And it's based on a book about, I guess, the
Amityville, New York. But I don't know.
This family that moves into this house and seeing all these, evil spirits and all that. And then the sequel, which I think is a much better movie, actually goes into the history of the family, the man, and why he killed his family. And they're seeing visions and ghosts and stuff. That's a much better movie. Because this one is just, this family stays in this fucking house that's trying to kill them.
That's telling them, get out.
And it's literally telling them to get out.
My glasses glare.
That'd be the first thing I would do, is get the motherfucker out of that house.
And Jay's like, I'm gone. Okay, I'm gone. Okay.
And there's some scenes that work. There's some scenes that are pretty good, or pretty creepy, but that basic idea of staying in this house when all this shit's happening to you, I can't get past that. I can't suspend my disbelief for this particular movie.
There you go. Well, now you know why. You truly know why you didn't like it.
Yeah. Now, I was reminded why I didn't like it. And like I say, there's some okay scenes here and there, but overall, I'm like, no. And I think outside of the second movie, I don't think I've seen any of the sequels. And like I say, I don't know, I mean, 15 of them or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, so.
Well, I jotted down some of what I've been watching and enjoying, and some that I brought back that maybe somebody hadn't watched. So first, let me get into this conversation Jay and I had the other day, because I was stymied. That's the word I'll use. And I didn't mean to cut you off. Was you done?
No, I'm done.
Okay. So I called Jay and I go, Jay, I have a problem. And him being my movie guru I go to, and a director and writer and filmmaker and actor, and why? Jay, why would Hulu put out 2 movies side by side about the same friggin' subject? One is a docuseries, came out in 2024. In 2025, they brought out this other one. Well, of course, I had to watch it because I watched the docu-series. I kind of wish I had watched it but they're the same storyline, y'all. The exact same storyline. Now, did they bring little nuggets of little bit of information? Nothing earth-shattering. In the second one, yes. But not enough to make another whole movie. Okay. Natalia Speaks. In 2024, and it's like here on Netflix, and you go a couple down, and here's the good Family, the Good American Family, I think's the name of it. Oh my gosh. So anyway, I had watched Natalia Speaks, and it's about these people that they had 3 sons and they wanted a daughter, and they found this adoption agency in a strip mall, and so they called and said, oh yeah, we've got an orphan from Ukraine but she's a dwarf. And she's got medical issues. She had club foot, and it was hard for her to get around. And she used a walker. But we want to place her with y'all. Would you be interested? And they go in and meet the little girl and go, oh yeah, we would love to have her in our home. Yeah. Till they get her home, her first bath, her mom goes in there. She's supposedly 6 or 7, right? In the first bath, they find out that she has complete pubic hair down. She got a bush, people. She got a bush. And so
she ain't no kid.
Well, the mother comes out and shuts the door and told her husband, she got pubic hair. I mean, a lot of it. And he goes, well, it may be her condition. They didn't know all that much about dwarfism and her condition and whatnot, thingamajig. So they consult with a doctor. He goes, well, it's highly unusual, but, I don't know. He didn't know, right? Well, it goes on in this docuseries to where the mother, she loves the daddy, the little girl does. Well, but she don't really like the mother. And the mother wakes up in the middle of the night one night, and the girl's standing there with a knife in her hand. And she does mean things to the brothers, and they're young, Well, it's really good. Now, the Good American Family, forget about it. I wouldn't waste my time. Please don't sue me, people. But I wouldn't waste my time watching it. Watch the documentary, the docuseries, I call it. Natalia 2024 Speaks. So they had to go through a bunch of rigmarole to find out. At one time, they put her in a insane asylum, mental hospital, in other words, and had to go get her back out because they said, you got to come get her. But she's evil, y'all. She's evil. Oh, she's scary, the stuff that she does. And it's really, really good. So the docuseries.
Yeah, I want to see that because I really like documentaries anyway. So
yeah, and then when you had said something, there's about these people that got this little girl, and apparently she's evil or something. I might watch it. The Good American Family.
Well, but the clip I saw is, she's got adult teeth. She looks like a little girl. You gonna be my mommy and daddy? But she's acting because she ain't no little girl. She's how old does she wind up being?
They think 22. They think when they got her, she might have been a teenager, maybe even up to 17. But and then so what happened was the mother said, well, what are we going to do with her? She's going to kill us all. She wants them all to die, but the daddy. And I got to protect my boys, and I'd like to live. Anyway, so the dad said, the mama said, the dad's kind of weak-minded, y'all. He's kind of, bless his heart, he's got troubles too. But the mother said, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put her in her own apartment. We're going to set her up. We'll pay all of her bills. We'll get her own food stamps, whatever we need to do. But she can't live in this house with us. We got to get her out of here. And so they set her up in an apartment. Well, this little apartment complex they set her up in, people think she's a little kid. How dare you? Sorry, how dare you abandon a child and set her up in an apartment? Because she looks like she's 8, 9 years old. Well, honey, there's good twists and turns in that Natalia Speaks. That's a good one.
Just the description of that would compare that to that horror movie, The Orphan. Where, you go through this whole movie until the end where you get the big reveal, and the big reveal is this little girl ain't no little girl.
Yeah.
Great woman. But
unlike The Orphan, this is an actual story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This really happened to these people.
I want to see the documentary.
Yeah, that's the one. I watched the other one thinking, am I going to learn anything different? 2 or 3 little nuggets. Now listen, I don't watch comedies. I just don't care for them. every now and then I'll watch a good romance movie because, I like Notting Hill, stuff like that. But I watched Mid-Century Modern with Nathan Lane, and he's pretty well off, and his two friends that move in, they all moved in with him. And it's gay themed. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's a comedy, and it just came out. So if you're looking for a laugh, they do a lot of dancing and singing in their kitchen, in their living room. And it's adorable. It's just really cute. But I'm not homophobic. So if you are, you probably wouldn't enjoy it. But I loved it. Mid-Century Modern. And then I watched, well, there is a series that came out, and the second season, there's 2 seasons of it. And it's called Woman, Woman, of the Dead. Okay. Well, she is a mortician. Small town undertaker who speaks to the dead discovers her husband was about to reveal terrible secret when he was killed in a suspicious accident. That is a very good series. And she's an undertaker, y'all, and she's fixing these people up, and she hears them talking to her, and she talks back to them, She goes in, "Hey, Fred, how are you today?" "Well, I'm still dead, but what's going on in your life?" It's really, really good. And I didn't mean to hog it. There's more, but
Well, no, I mean, I like this guy. He's got a YouTube channel, Cody Leach. He reviews movies. He goes to conventions and stuff, interviews people, and that's basically he makes his living doing that. He makes good, probably makes some good money doing what he does. Mainly he reviews movies, and he had an interesting stream last night that I watched. I don't know when it was done, but I watched it last night, talking about movies that are no longer available. They're sort of banned movies, I guess you would say.
oh, okay.
That you were popular back in the day, but you can no longer see them. Like the Crying Game. I remember when that came out.
Yeah, I remember it too. Yeah.
It was nominated for a bunch of Oscars. I think it won some Oscars. It was everywhere. I remember it came out on DVD. Walmart had it. Every place had the Crying Game, and you can't find the Crying Game. Can't find the Crying Game anymore. And it deals kind of with sort of a transgender subject where you get this guy that falls in love with this foreign girl, and
Beautiful.
Beautiful girl.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, you find out she ain't no girl. He does. He finds out, because he goes to finally have sex with her, and she undresses, and then you see, well, no, this ain't no girl. But it's a really good movie. It's touching. It's very well acted by the lead girl guy. It was very real good performance. But you can't find it anymore because everyone's touchy feely about that kind of subject.
Yeah.
That's the worst you can do is offend anybody these days. Well, good Lord, you'll live to see another day if you're offended. Big deal, And so good movies are no longer, some really good movies are no longer available because they touch on some subjects that.
Well, there's a big push in the current administration.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other one being Powder. I've only
Oh,
seen
I remember that.
this guy. He's real pale. He's bald headed.
Yes, he's an albino.
And he's albino, but he has special powers. He can move like objects. He can he's
That was such a good movie.
telekinesis. He can communicate with animals or something. He's got all these powers. It's a really good movie and really good performance. I forget who plays Powder. I forget who the actor is, but it was directed by Victor Salva, and he did some really bad things with a young actor from one of his earlier movies. He sexually abused him and videotaped it.
Yeah.
Oh my
That was
God. Well, he went to it, he was convicted and all that. He had to register as a sexual offender or whatever.
yeah.
But he's still making movies. He made what is it? The Jeepers Creepers, which I love Jeepers Creepers. I like Jeepers Creepers too. He made those movies. He made the Jeepers Creepers movie. But you can't find Powder anymore. You can find Jeepers Creepers. You can find those movies, but you can't find Powder.
Yeah.
And that's a movie I'd like to see again, even though the director is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Lasting piece of garbage. I still want to see the movie because I remember watching it thinking it was a really good movie. I want to see it again, but you can't.
Yeah.
And then a Disney, what was considered a classic at the time, they used to release this movie like every 5 years and stuff in theaters. It was a big deal on VHS when it first came out. I saw it at the University of Tech when I went to the University of North Texas. They had a movie theater there that I saw movies, and I saw this Song of the South, and this is Uncle Remus.
Yeah,
that famous song, Zippity Doo Dah.
It's not PC anymore.
But you cannot find Song of the South in any shape or form.
No, and I loved all the music in that.
Music is great. That guy, I forget the guy that plays Uncle Remus, he's really good. And it incorporates live action with animation.
Yeah.
And it's really good where the animated animals and stuff are interacting with Uncle Remus. And he's telling the story about Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby, which, okay, all right. I'll give you, that's kind of stretching things, the Tar Baby. And, but it's considered really racist. But I never saw the movie as racist. It's just the character of Uncle Remus telling these stories that, it's about black people. And, the Tar Baby is, that's pushing things.
Well, it uses derogatory terms that are frowned upon now, but he's just telling the stories. He's not.
And he's telling it in the way that stories were told back then.
Right.
But the only way you could find a copy of Song of the South is to find an old VHS when it came out on VHS. The only way you could find it, it's not on YouTube. It's not anywhere.
No, it won't stream anywhere. Yeah.
The Disney, I got Disney Plus. It's not on there, and they'll never put it out in any shape or form. That's a movie that has just been permanently buried, and it's a shame because it's a really fun movie. And the way that it incorporates animation with live action is really good. It's a pity because it's a classic, really.
Yeah.
But you can't watch. You'll never be able to see Song of the South. I don't know. Like I say, you find like an old VHS. If you got a videotape recorder. But yeah. But anyway. Yeah, and there's some other movies he mentioned I forgot, but those were Powder and A Crying Game and Song of the South. So
I went to my public library. I haven't gone this month. I try to go once a month because it's so enjoyable and I love going so much. And I buy a couple of books from their up in the top second floor of my library. There is Friends of the Library bookstore, and I love going in there. And I, spend a few dollars and buy a few books. But anyway, I walked in, and I was upstairs. And I was looking for a book, and I looked in the catalog. It's not there. I looked everywhere. It's not there. And I went up to the desk. I've got desk on each one, and somebody's usually there. Not always, but the lady was there. And I said, I'm looking for this. And I handed her the title and the author. And I can't find it in the core catalog. She said, oh, because they're federal and state funded, libraries are. She said, that is a banned book. And I said, so y'all don't have it? And she goes, it's a banned book.
Fahrenheit 451, was that the book?
Yes. And she was pointing at that. She said, but it's banned. She said, so if you want to check it out, you can't put it on your card. Go get it and bring it up here. I can't tell you the title. I can't tell you exactly where it's at. We don't talk about it. And I said, is that the only book you have that's banned up here? She said, we don't talk about it. But if somebody really wants to, it's a book, and she says right now we have a very few that we can't listen to catalog, but always ask me because I might be able to help you.
There was a news report a few days ago on the news about libraries, school libraries, and stuff, and books that are being banned in school libraries. And there's some when it gets gets it dealing with like pornography or something. Okay,
yeah, I can see that.
But what you should do with anything, movies, books, or any kind of media, is let you know what the content is. Okay, this is adult content.
Don't need to be in public schools, even in high school.
This is dealing with subjects that may be sensitive to some people. Let you know what you would see or read, but still make it available, because it's our choice.
But the state of Texas is ruled by school board administrators, so no, it's not.
Okay, I'll admit sometimes I would indulge, but I can't indulge in Texas anymore with these with these certain kinds of films, because they took it away from Texas. Now you have to prove your age, and the way you have to do that is you have to take a picture of yourself. You've got to submit it. You got to go through this whole process before you can watch any of adult films in Texas on the internet. And I said, well, fuck that. I've got I got a good imagination.
I know when you first told me I'd take a picture, I'm like, well, Jay, what you got to do?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, not down there.
You got to do all this bullshit. and so Greg Abbott did that.
Now, here's what I don't understand. Well, do governors have terms, or are they just there for life? Seems like this fella's been in office for 100 years. Okay, I didn't mean that, but kind of.
And I want to ask, because I'm not. No one's commented today. Do we have anybody watching? I see two people. If you're watching, let us know you're watching. Usually we get a few comments. And Andy comments today.
We're just chit-chatting.
I'm curious, and I'm not going to get into politics here. Hey, we got someone's commenting. Just a minute. Thomas Swafford. Hey, hello, Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
Thanks for wandering in. This was like an impromptu.
Yeah, this is this us hanging out. But I'm curious, you folks that voted our current president into office, is there anybody that's having some buyer's remorse? Is there anybody?
There's a lot of people, Jay. You try to stay away from it. I watch the news. I watch a lot of news.
I watch the news in the evening, mainly for the weather, because I'm obsessed with the weather. But and of course I'll see what Trump has done, or kind of because he signed, and there's a few Democrats that voted for it too, where now you've got to prove your citizenship and all this to vote. Well, the problem is with someone like Kathy, if you're divorced and your name hasn't changed, you're fucked. Something to that effect.
Well, let me tell you real quick. Sorry, I'm having to do insulin. Here's the problem with that. If you carry your birth certificate up there and it's Kathy Real, and you carry your driver's license up there and it's Kathy Real Bradshaw, they don't match.
Yeah.
They don't match, you don't vote.
Well,
that don't seem right.
I think 4 Democrats voted for that, that was a surprise. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff.
And that's okay.
I'm on Medicaid. Me and Kathy both were on Social Security disability. She's on a different kind of disability than me.
Mine's on straight Social Security now. Yeah.
But I'm on SSI, Social Security. And I'm on Medicaid. That is my health insurance, is Medicaid. And there's the big concern. He keeps saying, look, I'm not touching Social Security. I'm not touching Medicaid.
So far, so good.
But there's so many trillions of dollars he wants to cut from government spending. And they're saying, well, the only way that we're going to be able to cut that amount of money is to get into Medicaid and Social Security and Medicaid. So we'll see. But I'm just curious if anyone out there that voted
Uh,
for this man, if you're kind of saying, well, yeah,
well, these town hall meetings, Jay.
buyer's remorse, I put it.
Yeah, a lot of people are. I mean, there's a lot of people that
But
are like,
anyway,
uh-oh.
Thomas says, I would have been here early if I'd have known you were here. And he
Oh,
also says, I think a lot of people are regretted voting for him.
they are. They
Yeah.
really are. And the problem of it is, it's not. It's governors. It's, you know what I mean. It's of course, a few Republicans have come out and said, well, we thought things were going to be running different, but they're all terrified of him. They're scared of him, and I'm like, okay, y'all don't care about us. They care about pleasing him. And they've said that, y'all. I'm not just blowing smoke. And I'm thinking, please take care of me. I would like to live.
If he took security, he would really set off a revolt.
Oh yeah. Listen, I'd march. I'd have to tote my oxygen tank, but I'd be marching.
That is the thing that even though it looks like he's just been given
Carte blanche.
unlimited power, he's got
Yeah.
all the Republicans are with him, and of course they're controlling the Senate and the House, and that no one will vote against the man, at least on his team. But we've got, just as American people, we've got a certain amount of power. That, if he starts messing with Medicaid, Social Security, things like that, Medicare, I'm hoping he wouldn't be able to get away with that.
Well, I need to move into the White House if he takes care of my Social Security, because I don't know what I'll do. That's what I live on. That's what I worked 34 years in.
That's my health care is Medicaid, and that's how I live. That's how I pay my bills, and that's
Yeah.
how I eat.
Yeah.
Is my what $960 something a month I get from Social Security.
I can't get Medicaid but I have that United Healthcare um, uh, Advantage plan. I'm sorry, y'all. Advantage plan, which I love because it pays off my bills. I got two specialists and then my primary, and I have to pay copays, and it's Medicare RX. So if he messes with Medicare, I'm on insulin, folks, and I have to take it to live. So I need it.
Okay, congressmen and governors don't want to lose his support because so many of their voters like Trump. However, now the voters are turning against Trump.
Yeah, that's true, y'all. Because he's scaring the poo-wah diddy out of us. And the only problem, and I'm about done political talking, I'll be honest, but the only problem that they ran into is they decided they're going to cut across, let's just cut all these jobs from these federal, and so they cut across and let go of a bunch of federal employees. And then all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh, my bad. And they hired some of them back. Well, you might would have thought about how many you need up in there for you just, but they just blanket cut it. Well, you can't do that. You can't do that and protect us nuclear people,
And then, of course, there was that what made the stock market crash was all these tariffs that he was going to implement. And then he goes, oh, well, okay, I'll pause it 90 days,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because that's one good part is that if enough noise is made, he will finally maybe, come to his senses and go, well, okay, So he's paused it except for China. Everything else he's paused for 90 days.
Yeah. China said, bring it on.
Then
You know how much stuff we get from China?
negotiate terms and all that.
Yeah.
So and then the stock market went back up.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing on the streams or whatever it is, it's connected to Instagram, where people go and comment and stuff like that, saying this shit is, and I don't understand politics, so someone else can speak about why this is, but they're saying this is fucking insider trading, is what this is. This
Yeah.
is what he's doing is illegal. Um,
Well, y'all, listen.
I don't understand that, so I
I
can't.
don't understand that either, so I can't speak to it. But let me tell you, when you hire a known felon, you get what you get, and that's I didn't vote for him. Okay, I'm gonna just tell you that. My bad if I'm offending
Well,
somebody.
I didn't vote for anybody because they say, well,
Well,
you get what you pay for. You know, if you didn't
I,
vote,
I,
you know,
I
you
knew
get,
Kamala didn't have a chance, but I could not sleep at night knowing I voted for him, so I voted for her. But now let me tell you, I thought we'd be protected by Congress on some things that we're not protected on. Now, as long as Jay and I also have this way of thinking, and he shared it many times online. And well, I call him and he calls me, we talk. And here's the bottom line of it. As long as you don't take away our livelihood, which is our Social Security, his SSI, Medicare, Medicaid, we're fine. It's not that we're cold hearted, but it affects us personally.
no,
And
like I say, I'm not just across the board. You know, just everything he does, what he wants to do,
me
you know, for
either.
the border and what he wants to do and getting people out of here, that they're bringing drugs into the country, things like that. I'm for that. There's a few things, but yeah, like I said, when you're messing with the things that we need to survive,
Live. Yeah.
then,
know,
um, but anyway, no matter what, he claims victory. He backs off, and his supporters say that he was deal making.
yeah, I
Uh,
believe that.
I think the election was stolen. I think it was hacked, and many were eliminated from the voting rolls that would have voted for Harris. I mean, well, I
Yeah,
don't know.
me
I
too.
don't know anything. I won't
Yeah,
speak.
I don't know, but I mean, that's just a feeling. That's just a feeling. I listen.
Because that's what Trump said when he lost to Biden. He said that it was stolen. That
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Well, here's what amazed me. Wisconsin judge, this last Democratic election they had, um, this well, Republican and Democrat were going to be going for this seat, and I think it's in the House. Okay, Elon Musk goes over there and says, "Listen, I'm going to give $1 million to two people that'll vote the way we want you to, Republican."
yeah.
Now, to me, I thought that was highly against the law. You know what? That's buying votes, is what it is. Well, you know what? Somebody said, I can't do that, can't do that. And the judge said, yeah, you can, and let him do it because. And then what was so funny is he gave away two at that rally for the Republican. I don't know who that was, but anyway, gave away two $1 million checks. And you know what? The Democrat won. And she says, I didn't even have to pay y'all to vote for me. I just died. I thought, isn't that? Oh my gosh, that's illegal. That's buying votes. You can't do that. But here's another thing everybody better be real careful of. This administration, and I'll say it out loud, they're stepping all over freedom of speech. You better watch what you say. You better watch it. They're going after people that are dissident. Yeah. So you got to be careful. So thank you, Trump. Oh, I can't hardly say president in front of me. Thank you, Mr. Trump, for all you're doing for the country.
Well,
I
like I
appreciate
say,
it.
just that it makes me miss. I was no huge fan of Joe Biden, but it was just I didn't, day by day by day, I hardly gave him any thought. I didn't think about Joe Biden.
Yeah,
It,
poor guy.
it was so peaceful just not to have
Why?
to worry
He
about
never-
anything with Joe Biden.
He
I'm
was.
not saying he was a great president or even a really good president,
He
but
didn't do nothing. Things were stagnant.
do nothing. He you didn't worry about what's he going to say, what's he going to do, because he barely did anything.
Well, one thing that Mr. Trump wants to do right now, and it'll cost, I don't know, I think they said maybe upward of $1 trillion. He wants his own political parade with all of the, all the military and all the big all the big guns and all the big tanks. He wants his own military parade. And I hadn't seen anything like that since in the 60s or 60s in the Soviet Union, where they, did a big parade. I think North Korea does a big parade sometimes. But he wants one. Well, where's that money coming from? It isn't coming from his pocket. But that's just a question I have now. If he wants his parade and he can figure out how to do it, fine. But please don't dabble in Social Security to get you parade permit. That's just me. Now, listen, I got a couple of more shows I've been watching. Excited about.
Yeah, we'll get off Donald Trump.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't. Where's that headache? Oh, that's the one with the big T on it. New season of Black Mirror is just now out on Netflix.
I'm glad you brought that up because I really like Black Mirror, and I was wondering when that was going to come out, and so I'm glad you said that because I'm anxious to see that.
And then there's a sleeper, and I think, y'all, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I'll put it down. It's either on Netflix or Hulu because that's the two I main watch. Now I watch, Tubi and Plex and some of the others, but this is going to be on one of the major ones, right? And it came out in 2020. Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington. Little Fires Everywhere. Okay, like I said, it's a TV series, and it intertwines the life of picture perfect Richardson family and an magnet. What do you say that? Oh, anyway, and a mother and daughter who upends their lives. It's very suspenseful. It's based on a Celeste N.G.S. Niggs bestseller that came out in 2017. Little Fires Everywhere. Now, y'all, there's twists and turns and creepy. It is a thriller. It's absolutely a thriller. It's billed as dark black thriller, I think, but it's really good. But I love Reese Witherspoon. Yes, I like all of
that. But let me catch up here. We'll go back to politics here for just a moment, just to read what Thomas says.
Hey, Thomas.
The Republicans project they screamed the election was stolen in 2020 when they lost, but of course the 2024 was legit. And they scream they are for freedom of speech, then go after anyone and speak up against them.
That's it. That's it right there. Be careful. No, they really are just regular people.
Biden cut down much of the old debt. He also helped Ukraine against Russia. Do we really want Russia that powerful? Are you going to post the Spirit of 76? He keeps asking me about the Spirit of 76 Marina Hootenanny. Thomas, I got to find that myself. I got to find my copy of that. But
it reminds him,
ask you, Thomas, how did you hear it? How are you even aware that exists? And back in the day when Mark was alive, did he put that out in some way or something? I'm just really curious how you, because that was done 40 something years ago. How did you hear it? I'm just curious. But I'll look and see if I can find my copy of it. Now, I don't know where I would put it. I guess I could put it on YouTube. I don't know. But yeah, how did you hear the Spirit of 76 Marina Hootenanny?
Was it part of that series of old radio shows y'all did?
Yeah, I think we did a version. We did a version for ourselves.
Oh, okay.
I think back when we were doing stuff for NPR, we might have did a version for NPR, but I'm not positive about that. But I think
I love those.
The Chet Cheddar shows and such. We might have done a version of that for radio, but I'm not positive.
Yeah,
my memory is very sketchy about that. Thank you, folks, that have been checking out the stuff I've done. The Dawn is,
oh my gosh,
2,500 views or something like that.
Yes, I told you. I'm so proud of Dawn, y'all.
And if you want to go and check my movie out I made 22 years ago, and appreciate y'all folks watching it. I did a watch along with Ray that's available, and
that was fun.
I posted the gag reel, blooper reel of Dawn. That
was hilarious.
And of course, I always ask you guys that are watching this, please hit that thumbs up because that helps folks see our stuff. But another thing that's being voted on, and I don't know when the results are going to come up with this, but they're voting on whether we're going to get rid of
Daylight savings time?
changing the time. We're going to keep daylight because that's what I want to do is keep daylight saving. I want the long days. Now, it could go either way. That if they pass it, they could decide to keep the short days, which I don't like the short days. I don't like it getting dark at 6 o'clock. I like it being 7 or 8 o'clock and I can still go out and go walking and stuff. I like the long days. So if we're going to get rid of changing the clock, let's keep the long days. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I don't understand how that will work. So it's either daylight savings time. In the fall, you fall back an hour. In the spring, we
just
spring
won't do it anymore. We won't change the clock.
Then how is that going to interfere with the rotation of the sun, Jay Carlton? I don't know.
Well,
what you're getting at.
Hopefully we'll be like we are right now, where when it comes where we would change the time. I think November is when we would change it back. We just wouldn't do it. We would just keep what we got.
Well, let's don't do it.
But anyway, they're voting on that. And I think they was going to give it to 2027 that if they implement it, states can decide whether they're going to do it or not. And so we'll see. We'll see what they come up with. Or if they decide they're going to make any, they may say, well, we're not going to change anything. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. But there's a lot of people that say, it fucks people up physically. People have heart attacks and all kinds of physical shit.
Well, I have to be real careful. For the first week, I don't adjust my insulin. I keep it the same way, right? And then in a couple of days, I take it like a little later than I normally do, but I don't usually ever take it earlier when we fall back in the winter months. In the fall, I don't take it earlier because it will affect me. Makes me lightheaded. It makes my tummy hurt.
I'm keeping attentive of that and see if we're going.
Yeah, let us know.
But anyway, Thomas is speaking of the Hootenanny business. Yes, it posted on a something by the Old Time Radio Researchers Group. Okay, I remember those guys come over here and they got the shows. And you can go to archive.org. You can find a bunch of stuff that you can download for free, and one of them is Chet Cheddar's Tales from the Morgue, our show.
How can you find it, though? Just
archive.
I know that, but once you get over to archive,
search Chet Cheddar.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, and you can download them all for free. I found the Tales from the Morgue years ago and loved them. I still live in fear of mutant mole rats. That was old Elmer Corn fighting the mutant mole rats. And It Came From Video was my favorite. Yeah, I like It Came From Video. And that It Came From Video, I sort of adapted that. I wrote the original story too, so I wasn't stealing from anybody. But I adapted that into my movie, She Made a Monster.
Well, here's what you used to say something in the chatter about when you did the commercial. Sprocket Springs.
No, that was Chet Cheddar. But this was
Chester Grimm.
No, that's Chester Grimm. But Chet Cheddar was the show we did.
Oh yeah, the radio one. Yeah.
But Chester Grimm would have commercials. Ray directed most of
them. I love those commercials.
And it was pullets. And
pullets.
Pullets are little chicks. They're little
pullets.
Chicks.
Yeah.
And what is it? Tractor Supply here in Mahia.
Yeah.
They may have them now. They get the little chicks. You can go and look at the little chicks.
Yeah.
And they got the different prices, and they had pullets. And I just love that word pullets. I just love the sound of it. Pullets. And so it was this guy, and basically he's crazy. He runs a store called Eliam's Pullet Shack. And pullets. And I just love the word pullets.
Yeah. Pullets. I remember that so vividly. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my
pullet.
gosh, pullets.
And that's what they call little hens, pullets.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I
uh,
just love that. I don't know. It would just kill me. In the commercials, I mean, the during the shows, it would show them like black and white touring a spam factory, something like that.
oh yeah, yeah. Hormel. This is Hormel. Yeah, this
There you
is
go.
Hormel. It was
This
it
is,
wasn't black and white. It was real. It was washed out color, but it was like
oh,
back when you would watch like in schools, they would show like old films about the making of stuff like that.
yeah.
This is Hormel. And
And it's
pullets,
like a
and then
factory tour.
what was it? And for a limited time, you buy a pound of pullets and get a free sack of brackets.
That's it. That's it. Thank you. I
And
thought, no, he said something else. It wasn't the
here's the story about behind the sack of brackets. Daddy out there, Daddy used to run a little sporting goods store over there by the house, and I went over to the store, and there was a little small paper bag, and inside the paper bag there was some metal things. I said, "Daddy, what are these?" "Those are brackets, son." And so I held the bag up, and I said, "So you're telling me this is a sack of brackets?" And nothing. I got nothing from him. He's kind of like, "Yeah, that's what's wrong." He didn't get it. It didn't strike him as funny. This is a sack of brackets. So, but
He's
that's
thinking, put it down.
it got nothing from Daddy, but
No.
it stuck in my brain just the sound of it. Sack of brackets. So, and I thought, well, pullets sounds funny, and this guy's crazy. The guy that's doing the commercial,
Yeah.
you buy a pound of pullets, get a free sack of brackets. That's right, brackets.
I love that so hardcore. You don't even know how much I love that.
When Ray edited the movie or edited the show, he put a little picture of brackets. Yeah, brackets. Yes, free sack of brackets, and then we did 2 or 3 of those of Elias Pull-Up Shack. What was the other one? That was unfortunately we got what is it? When a pallet, we got a whole pallet of pullets, and unfortunately, our pallet of pullets have got the rickets from eating crickets. so, so, well, and so for a limited time, if you buy a bag of rickety pullets, you get a free sack of sprockets.
I knew that. Shit.
Yes, but we got a whole pallet of pullets. But unfortunately, our pallet of pullets have got the rickets from eating crickets.
Poor pullets. Well, that's good crickets.
They're rickety pullets. So if you buy some rickety pullets, you get a free sack of sprockets.
Oh Lord.
It's just a wordplay. I think it's funny.
Yeah, that's what's so funny about it.
brackets and
So I got another Netflix series that I like, that I watch, and I'm happy. Let me find my Kleenex. You had me laugh so hard I nearly blowed water up my nose. There we go. Anyway, excuse me, y'all. I dribble when I laugh sometimes. Anyway, this Netflix series. See, y'all, I like mysteries. I like drama. I like a good war movie. I like a good Western. I mean, I like a whole big variety of everything. But this thriller came out, and I'm thinking, there's a new season. It's coming soon. It's not out yet, and the name of it is You. Wow, you. Okay. Here's a premise. He's a hopeless romantic with a body count in more ways than one. And he gets targeted on an individual woman, and it's really weird. He's not a bad looking guy. Washington Post, it's in their 10 best thriller list of all time. And it's called You. and it's really wicked. I mean, he's really wicked. That's what I like about it. But anyway, so anybody that might want to, and it's not, it kind of leans towards Dexter. It's kind of got a Dexterish type of karma to it. But stretching
I'm
that.
glad you brought up of Black Mirror because I really want to see that. I like those shows.
Well,
Um,
they're so different. That's what I liked about them.
it's kind of a Twilight Zone kind of. It's kind of Twilight Zone and Outer Limits, you know,
Yeah.
because most of it's a science fiction feel, uh, but it's got a Twilight Zone kind of twist to it in the way that they're made. Uh, so kind of Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, but modern day, a modern day technology or future technology, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I
Yeah.
really like Black Mirror. Uh, so got something to watch tonight because I would go to Netflix and it'd say coming soon. So
Yeah, yeah, that's the way this new series of You is. It's coming soon, but this one says new series available. I mean, it's available. You can watch it now. But anyway, because I crawled back over there, I thought, what have I been watching over there? I caught up on The Resident Medical. I caught up on Grey's Anatomy. I caught up on, St. Elsewhere. I was raising kids during all those years.
I did, Thomas, but it's been so long since I've seen those shows. But Thriller with Boris Karloff, it was kind of a Twilight Zone kind of show with Boris Karloff. Thriller, there were different stories, Different, yeah. Yeah, I have seen a bunch of those, but it's been so long. Uh,
Jay, I did a series where we discuss Alfred Hitchcock, right? His Jay covered his movies and I covered some of the miniseries, right? But I think we ought to. I don't know if he's done it or not, because I can't hardly do the evening ones. It gives me insomnia. I get all wired up after being on the show and visit with my brother that I can't hardly go to sleep if I film at night with him. So I don't stream with him at night. But I think it'd be fun to do. Um, Outer Limits.
yeah, I
Talk
need to
about
watch to see if any of them are streaming. I've got because I'm not able to play DVDs right now. I still
yeah.
got the TV in the box. I still haven't broke that TV out of the box. But I've got the Outer Limits on DVD. I've got the complete series, and I used to watch that. Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, Night Gallery, and like Thomas brought up the Thriller. Um, there was a bunch of those shows that Alfred Hitchcock, of course, and there's a bunch of Alfred Hitchcocks. But I think the very first Alfred Hitchcock Presents show was, I forget exactly what happened to her, but it was a man. I think it was his wife, and she's like attacked by this guy. I think she's raped or something. I forget what he does to her. But she's with, I think, her husband and driving, and then she sees the guy. So there he is, and he kills him. I forget if he shoots him or strangles him or whatever, but he kills the guy. And then they get back in the car and they're driving, and then she goes, "There he is, there he is, there he is." Of course, she had lost her mind.
Careful.
She had lost her mind, and everybody was the killer or whatever. There he is. And he's like, "Oh shit!" He just killed this innocent man because of her. There he is. And I think that was the first episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. But there's so many really good ones. But
There really is. I mean, oh my gosh. And I know all those are on YouTube. You can get to them.
and Alfred Hitchcock was just so entertaining himself. He introduced the show. Good evening, and let's see. Also, there's The Evil Touch and Journey into the Unknown, which are all on YouTube. Dark Room is another. They remade the one about the rapist for the reboot. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I remember that there was and what they did, this was during I think the late 80s, early 90s. They rebooted Alfred Hitchcock Presents and made color versions, of shows. And they colorized Alfred Hitchcock, his intros, So, with computers, they colorized them, so you still had his intros and stuff, but he was in color. And there's a few of those that are pretty good. The modern day, the updated version, of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Because they also did the Twilight Zone. They brought up, they had a new Twilight Zone too around that time. So they, brought up Alfred Hitchcock Presents also. And there's some of those Twilight Zones too that I like from the late 80s, I think. Some of those are pretty good too. But
Excuse me.
But yeah, that's definitely something I want to see. Dark Mirror. That's probably what I'm going to watch tonight. Start watching those.
There you go. Yep. It showed that, they're available. So,
and
so have you and Brandon talked about what y'all might like to do after you finish the movie?
I need to talk to him and ask, when you feel like doing the next show. There's someone with that, Mystical commented, says that I interrupt him a lot. I didn't know I interrupted him a lot.
You don't mean to.
Yeah,
it's just
I don't mean to, but I'll try to be more attentive of that. But he says all it is just you going through these movies, and that's all the show is. I said, well, yeah, that's the show. We talk about movies. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, well, Mystical, I called you on that with me one time, but see, I'll go, my turn. Whoa, I'm not done. You know what I mean? But you do it.
You're hard to interrupt because you.
Yeah, interrupt me.
Yeah, you're hard. You're hard. But I'll try to be attentive of that.
It's just you think here, you're not trying to hog it. You're just your mind. It comes to your mind and you just want to share. That's all it is. You don't mean to.
But yeah, I'll have to send him a message and see when.
Yeah.
I need to go and go down my list and add to my list of my favorite movie. We've been going through favorite movies every year since we were born, and I'll go through a list of movies that were put out a particular year, then pick my favorite of that year.
Yeah, and you might ask him.
I'm twice as old as Brandon, so I'm going to be done, a lot sooner than he is, or he's going to be done a lot sooner than I am.
Yeah, so, and you might ask him when you call out a movie before you start explaining it all to him. Talking about it, Jay, you might ask him, have you seen it? Because I noticed he said a lot of those things.
He's pretty good. Brandon's pretty good about it. As soon as I name a movie, he'd just start talking about it. Oh, yeah, that's a really good one,
Oh, okay, good.
I usually don't have to ask him that,
I think you'll bounce off each other pretty damn good, I'll be honest.
You need to do a film version of Tales from the Borg, the rise and fall of the Master Constipator. Yeah, there's something, like I say, I adapted that. It came from video that became She Made a Monster. Of course, I changed it to a little girl instead of a, mad doctor or whatever, scientist or whatever he was. But I need to go and listen to some of those shows and see if there's any more that could be adapted.
Yeah, blow some air into them and make us some more short.
But yeah.
Are you comfortable with your camera now?
Not really. I just turned it on a few times. I need to recharge it. It may not even turn on now. I need to recharge the battery on it. I turned it on, play with it, and the damn file size was too big for my laptop, and it was too big for my editing computer. It played a little bit, but they would freeze up because it was the technology's too much for what I've got.
Right. I
understand. A laptop that can handle this technology.
Can't you play back on your camera though and see what you filmed?
Yeah, I can do that. And it looks good. It's sharp, but it's just this little screen I'm looking at.
I know you need it where you can maneuver it around better.
But I'm still kind of scared of it. And I can shoot in regular high definition. It shoots that way too. It shoots that way, but it also shoots. I could shoot the way I've been shooting if I needed to. If the file sizes were too big even for a new laptop. But hopefully it's not. But not really. I haven't really played with it, and I'm not going to really until I get a laptop, and then I can start.
Yeah, then you can. Yeah, then you can see just exactly what it can do.
But and I haven't talked to my actors. I don't know if any of them are still on board because I haven't talked to them in several months. To see if they still would want to play because since I'm not doing anything with it right now, just, but
Well, I did something when I was over staying with the kids the other night. Um, it was I was over there, and my ex-husband David lives there. Basically, it's his house, but my daughter and son-in-law pay the mortgage, and he lives there, and he pays utilities and such, right? But I was over there sitting with the two grandkids, and I thought, I'm going to do something, and I might get in trouble for it, but I'm going to do it anyway. John, it was a day, David had just got back, the ex-husband just got back from his mom's graveside memorial. She was 86 when she passed in her sleep. I hope we all go that way, But anyway, she wasn't ill. She was just old, And I always hate when people say, "What was it?" She's old, y'all. We don't live forever. That's always bugged me. What was it? When you're 99, it's probably a blessing in your sleep when you go. But anyway, let's get back to the subject, because I go a long way around a circle sometime before I jump off in the middle. Okay, so what happened was my granddaughter had gotten up early, had to go to the doctor and all this stuff, and she was tired. And she's on the end of this big old, I got one of them big old sofa things, y'all, Anyway, so she's on one end, I'm on the other. Well, the 12-year-old grandson, John, had decided, I want to go spend time with Papa, because he felt bad that his mama passed, and he wanted to, but it was way out of town, so my daughter's family wasn't going to go, But anyway, I said, come here, Dorothy. You want to see something? And of course, when I say that, she's all about, of course. She is the most curious little human being, which I'm glad, because she's very smart. She's our AB honor roll, and she's very smart. But what happened was I pulled up Dawn and took the sound off, muted my phone, and I went all the way to where her mama's part, where mama's driving up with the white Explorer. I took the sound off, and she's sitting right on top of me, not right here. Dot she's 10, and I unmuted it. And she's just watching her mama. And I said, that's Uncle Jay's movie. And she's watching. She's watching. She said, oh my gosh, that's Mama. And I said, what did you think? She had hair. Because for years, my daughter did like Jay. She shaved her head. But anyway, and she said, Mama, how old was Mama? I said, 19. She said, oh, she just loved that part, Jay. And she, every time April would say a cuss word, she'd, okay. And I said, well, you think that's good? You want to see her in a blooper reel? And so I pulled the blooper one up, and I found April, And I clicked play. And she thought that was so hilarious. I bet that child laughed so hard. Yeah. So, because Ray jumps at her and said, who you calling bitch? April, you scared the shit out of me. And Dorothy Mae loved it. And so I said, don't make a big deal about it with Mom that I'll let you watch this, okay? Because she hadn't wanted them to watch Dawn at all because they were too young, she thought, And I'm thinking, they both watch stuff on, they're monitored parental control on their phones and their tablets and their laptops. But, you turn on the TV on YouTube, kids, and see people every now and then saying a cuss word, And John and I watch some YouTubers play games that cuss, And so her mom walked me out. They called a Lyft to come pick me up to bring me home. And her mom always walks out with me and makes sure helps me get in the Lyft, holds my stuff while I crawl in there. Anyway, she said, I said, oh, while we stand out there waiting, I said, I pulled up Dawn and found just your part and played it for Dorothy. And then I pulled up and I'd sent April the little clip of the blooper reel that she's in, And I said, that clip I sent you? She said, yeah. The blooper, yeah. I said, I played that for her too. And she said, I didn't know if you'd be upset with me for it. And she said, oh, so you asked me after the fact. No. I said, I said, well, yeah, because I'm still the grandmother and I'm going to try to get by with anything I can get by with within reason, you know. She said, Mom, that's no big deal. She'll hear me cussing in the kitchen sometime. Oh, I laughed. I said, well, okay, as long as I'm not in any hot water.
Uh, and have you thought about doing more audio drama? Yeah, I have thought about that. I would need the equipment for that. I would need to get the like a multi-track MP3 recorder or something like that. In order to do something like that. Um, I have thought about that. It would probably be more comedy than drama if I did that. But
Uh,
yeah, I've thought about that. Um, and
Thomas, or if you don't mind me asking, where do you live?
yeah,
You said
Thomas, where do you
you said
live?
you said you're too far away to. Uh, I'm just in a little snippet of She Made a Monster. I don't say anything, but that's the only one I'm in. My daughter, my aunt and uncle that are passed, my cousin and her husband's passed, my mama, all my family, and my ex-daughter-in-law are all in Dawn. So I always told Jay, and he was kind enough, one of the one or two copies he had left handed me one. He I told him, I said, that's my family, man. That's why it means. And of course, I was very proud of Jay, even though he didn't like his acting, I did. And I loved the movie, and I got to go see it at the Angelica when they filmed it. Tennessee. Oh my gosh, aren't y'all having flooding, or is that Kentucky? I'm sorry, I love Tennessee. I've been through it all. I've been through all the states, but uh, tornadoes. Oh my gosh, I have a pen pal in Oklahoma City, and I got to have 11 pen pals. We try to write once a week, but anyway, um, she I just got a little card from her yesterday, and she said that they were lucky. They are in what they call the tornado alley, where they're guaranteed tornadoes. Oh, that's good, Thomas. I'm
He said
glad y'all aren't
they
doing
were
that.
having both tornadoes and bad thunderstorms and stuff, but not in his area. So.
That's good. That's very good. Yeah. And she said, we just knew one was coming for us, but she said, a lot of us have storm shelters. You invest in your home and you invest in a storm shelter, and it's fully stocked. And we had a neighbor up the road from us, Sue and Kent Adams. I grew up with their three daughters.
They had a tornado.
And he didn't buy it, build it. He paid and has had them build a storm shelter.
I think maybe the folks that live there, and I think it's still there. I think I think it's still there.
Well, it's huge. It's in the ground. I mean,
but here's something that this is something that's been available pretty much my whole life, and I don't know if I've ever bought it. Maybe when I was a kid, or maybe Mama bought it for me or something like that. But I thought, what I'll do is I'll eat. I've got a little bit of ice cream left. I'll make me some ice cream, and I'll put some Nutella on top of it, and eat that. But I'll usually in the evening, disrobed. I won't say the N word. I'll throw something in the air fryer as a snack or something like that. But I won't always want something sweet. After I eat something savory, I always want something sweet.
That's genetic.
I've been that way my whole life.
That's genetic. Our father.
I don't care if it's a candy bar, or if it's a bowl of ice cream, or if it's some cookies. I want something sweet. So I finally bought a jar of this. It's been on the shelf my whole life. And it's the peanut butter and jelly mixed together.
Goober.
And I've seen this my whole life. I've seen this on the shelf and never have bought it because I buy peanut butter and I buy jelly and I just put it together myself.
Yeah.
And the reason why I finally bought this, it says, you know what I can do when I want something sweet? I'll just get me a spoon and I'll just open this up and just scoop a spoon of this and just eat it. Just eat it. Just eat it. And peanut butter and jelly. And so that's what I've been doing.
You like it?
I want a quick shot of something sweet. I'll just get a spoon and just get me a scoop of this and just and eat it that way. So yeah.
You know what? I don't have any in the freezer now. I get the sugar-free popsicles and eat them. After dinner I'll eat one. That two sticks. And anyway, what I do is I can take a bowl, any flavor. I like to get the chocolate or vanilla, and I like to put Rice Krispie cereal in it.
Hmm.
It's so good. A friend of mine had his house wrecked by a tornado. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Thomas.
They got in the basement.
Yeah. And see, here in Texas, we don't have basements unless you specifically build one. We don't have basements.
Well, I mean, this time last year it was raining, and I had 2 trees that just fell, just because the ground was so saturated, the trees were leaning. They just fell, literally just fell to the ground. 2 trees. Fortunately, none hit the house. Had one nearly caved in the roof of the store building over there, and I had those guys that fixed the roof and all that, and they cut them down and cut them up for me. For some fine reminiscence or whatever. But yeah, and then had some people that helped me out there at the lake that cut that first tree that fell. Didn't charge me for that. I paid the guys some money though. But anyway, this time of year in Texas typically is a stormy, rainy time of year. Like I say, this is unusual. For it to be 10, 11 days of no chances of rain this time of year. And last year, May was the rainiest month ever on record in Texas. Like 16 inches for that month. Last May. So we'll see what this May is going to be. But last May was the rainiest ever in Texas, at least on record. It just poured and poured and poured and poured and poured. I mean, literally, I just had a lake outside, several days where it was just inches of water. Just walk out. I would wear them slides, that I would get from Temu or Temu. I'm actually wearing shoes now with socks, but I'd wear them slides, just walk out there and just wade through water because we had so much rain. And let's see. I had a tree lay on my garage, but it was hollow, so it didn't do a lot of damage. Well, that's good, Thomas. Yeah. Yeah, this is typically a very stormy time of the year, but at least not right now. So, and yeah, we need the rain. It's getting into drought. A lot of areas are getting into pretty bad drought. So, but I can do without the storms. Well,
what? Listen, when are you going to talk to those people about making you little picnic on anything?
My what now?
Let me catch my air. You're awning over your picnic table.
Oh, I don't know. It just depends on what that would cost, because they gave me different figures and stuff. It might be $400 or $500 and stuff like that, So I haven't really talked to them about that. We'll see if they contact me, because I told them there's that on the other half of the land. It's just got a bunch of trees. I said, you can have all them trees. You can cut them down, cut them up, sell them, do whatever you want to with them.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's been over a month since I've talked to them. So I don't know. Next time I talk to them, I'll ask, kind of give me an idea of what that might cost, but like I say, I'm socking some money back, And of course, every year around October, I've got land taxes. Then like I say, I still want to get a damn laptop, maybe to work on the short film and all that. So there's different things that would cost some money that I'm looking at. So the awning's kind of lower on the list of priorities,
Well, I thought if they come over there and clear out some trees are not cheap. You know what I mean? Especially that cedar tree.
And Thomas says a number of years ago we had a once in 100 years rain. One woman drowned there. Was water pouring down the street below me?
Oh my gosh.
Uh, but
Every now and then, downtown Houston will flood.
yeah,
In Austin, there's several
rain.
streets around Austin that flood, and down around the UT, the University of Texas, the college campus, 42 acres campus, it floods quite often around the streets when we have real hard rains. So I had to go down there when my daughter was 14. She wanted this necklace for Christmas that we'd seen, and it was like 4 or 5 days before Christmas. But it was downpour, y'all, downpour for 2 days straight. And I said, that shop's on Guadalupe down there. And David said, ex-husband, said, Kathy, I bet it's flooded down there. I said, well, if I have to park up on a hill and swim down, I've got to go get this kid's. That's the last one of the main Christmas presents she wanted that year was that necklace. It wasn't real expensive, but she wanted it. So Mommy went down there, and luckily the streets were flooded in that area, but a couple of blocks down from where I was headed. Like, yes, thank you. So I was able to get in and out of there, and and there's so that was good. I got that done, but I mean, they were barricaded 2 blocks down. They because people either and they'll have a sign. No driving, no walking past this area, because students get out and get in the bars and get drunk and drown in them streets. It's not uncommon.
Well, and I forget what country it was, but it was like a dance hall or a bar or something like that. This roof fell,
200 of them.
and
Yeah.
Hundreds of people killed. Oh,
Dominican Republic, I think, is where that's at.
with this. Oh man! And then what was it? Yesterday or the day before, there was a helicopter crash and it killed.
Yeah. Mother, father, and 3 kids.
Video of it where basically it just stopped midair and just fell. This
That
helicopter.
was so sad. Yeah.
It killed everyone on board. It was a few kids, and it was a
Well, it was a mother and the father and 3 kids. I watched the news on it this morning.
and they were just, I don't know, just taking a helicopter ride,
I have no clue
But
why
anyway,
that was on there.
so that's
But-
bad. Yeah, that roof, that was terrible. That killed.
And then today, I've got a channel that it's. I don't know if I picked it up on YouTube or if it links off of one of like NBC, ABC. I watch CNBC. I don't watch Fox News. That's the only news channel I refuse to watch.
Bye, Thomas.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in.
You.
You've been the one person that's talked to us today. So
Thank you for talking to us, and it was nice to see you again. But anyway, this couple in their pickup brought in a 4-year-old little boy into the emergency room. Okay. He had been shot, and he was shot, I think, in his hip, and then even it went into his leg somehow. So he had 2 places where he had been shot, but with 1 bullet, right? Okay. So this couple brought him in and said, and they asked the little boy, well, who shot you? He said, I got shot with a gun.
Yeah.
He's 4. Okay. Well, of course, CPS got involved, and he wasn't going to leave there with them parents. That's for damn sure, But they went to, because there's other kids in the house too. So they went out to this trailer park. Well, it's a trailer. I don't know if there's any other trailers out there. And they found a juvenile crocodile in the house. They found several 6 or 8 venomous snakes, and some snakes were dead with maggots in them. all in the same enclosures with these other snakes, right? So I think they were individual, like probably aquariums or something with lids, and there was different drugs laying around, and so they removed. They didn't say how many kids, but there's kids in the house still. So they removed those kids, and they won't get them back either. But they said that the venomous snake containers, the sheriff was outside talking about it. He said, "We're waiting for somebody to come that specializes in these snakes to get them out of there." So they're all that mess was still in there. They just went in and observed, and like me, backed out. I'd be backing out, still backing out. I hate snakes. But anyway, I mean, I know they got a place in the world, but my phone's time's messed up, Jay. It says, no, it's not. What's messing me up? We've been live for an hour and 40 minutes, and it's 2:40. I'm like, on my phone. I'm like, my phone's messed up. No, it's not, Kathy. Wake up. But anyway, the officer said there were several firearms just laying around. All the kids could have got shot each other, could have had a good old shootout, or shoot one of those aquariums, and that snake come out and kill everybody. So apparently, the kids are, the kids are being placed in protective custody and will be put in foster homes. Will not be returned to the parents, because none of the what I was going to finish saying, none of the tops to those venomous snakes, like they had rattlesnakes and coral snake, I don't know what all, but anyway, the tops, there was no latches on them. Mm. Some little kid could just gone by and knocked it off. Snake come out, kill you in your sleep. But it was wicked. I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't hear that kind of stuff too often. And I think it was, I don't know, it might have been I don't know where it was, Illinois, Indiana. I don't know. I thought that was wicked. Things you hear on the news, like I said, I watch the news because I want to be informed, okay?
I don't. I watch it in the evenings. Sometimes at noon I'll watch it, but just local news. I don't watch it like CNN or none of that stuff.
And see, I like to watch, CNN, and every now and then they'll show, and this came from a local news station, like, I don't know what their call sign was, in WKZ or whatever. And I thought, isn't that interesting? House of Horrors, I'd call it. Well, I don't want to keep you if you think you're done.
Well, I guess no. You teased me about saying this has been a good one, but it's been a good one. We've covered a lot of subjects with this one. We dipped our toes in politics a little bit, but
yeah, we weren't bad, Bubba.
Just dipped our toes in it because, like Kathy said, we both are personally affected by what this man in office does. It affects us on a very personal level of how our lives are lived. The things that he might decide to do. So, yeah, we're hoping for the best and keeping our fingers crossed.
And I got listen.
But I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand how politics are run. I don't talk it very often. I don't talk it. I was just curious if the people that voted for Mr. Trump, maybe there might have been some buyer's remorse.
some of them are going, my bad.
Yeah. But no, this has been a good one, and thank you as always, Kathy.
I enjoyed it. I'm sorry it took me for so long to get back with you. Maybe we can do it on another semi-regular basis.
And Thomas, thank you for joining in, Thomas. And anybody that's watching, please hit that thumbs up, and let other folks know about the show if you're enjoying it. I need to talk to Brandon and see when he would want to continue on our little series of what we've been talking about, the yearly movies and our favorite movies and stuff. But anyone has any ideas for subject matter or something like that, give us a comment. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, comment, let us know. If you're not enjoying what you're seeing, like Mystical had some criticisms. So
but that's okay. That's okay. That's how we learn.
Yeah, that's how we learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you, sis.
Yeah. Thank you for having me again.
And we'll do this again soon. We'll
Okay.
go out and join the rest of this
Yeah.
pretty.
I'm gonna go check my mail. I'm waiting on a delivery from Amazon. I bought me a purse. But anyway, and I'm going to the 15th. Think about me. They're coming to make sure I haven't got any violations. I don't think I do. And I'm going to be sure and mop floors and dust and, that fun stuff. But I think everything looks pretty good. So I think I'd pass. Even they say you don't have to be there. Are you kidding me? Them coming in here and net picking into my place and me not here? I'm going to be here. Okay, honey, I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, sis. Thank you, everybody. And y'all have a good day. And we will see y'all soon. Bye bye.